Greetings, YouTube. I can't really say that this is going to be a review of the movie The Blindside. Mostly it's going to be about the politics that the film got me thinking about. For those of you that don't know, the story of The Blindside is about a wealthy white Christian family that takes in a poor black boy whose name is Michael Orr. They help him into a new school. They help him get into college, and eventually he becomes a player in the National Football League. This is a real story. Michael Orr is a real person. And it's heartwarming, and it's entertaining, and I enjoyed the film. It has a few comedic elements, a few action elements, some football-related and some not football-related. I'm a sucker for sports films. Even though I despise professional sports in the real world, I see professional sports as the modern day equivalent of bread and circuses from the Roman era. Except in the United States, it's professional sports and cheap gas. As long as Americans seem to have that, they don't seem to care what the people in charge do to the country, which depresses me. But during one of the scenes, the family is looking to hire a tutor to help Michael Orr improve his grades so he can get into college. And they do an interview with one of them. They only show one interview, apparently. I mean, I'm assuming they had more than one. And at the end of the interview, everything's going well. And the tutor looks at them and says, "I have one thing I need to tell you." And from the setup, you can tell it's going to be a momentous announcement. That the tutor is afraid that when she makes this announcement, it may be a deal breaker for the family here. She says, "I'm a Democrat." A little chuckle. The scene following that, the father of the family says, "Who thought I'd have a black son before I knew a Democrat?" A bigger chuckle. But it got me thinking. There's a political message there, and to my mind, a really powerful one. If this scene is from reality, and I have no reason to believe it's not, this is a true story, then that means that this family votes Republican, and all of their family members vote Republican, and everyone they know votes Republican. Their entire sphere of contact with the world is Republican. And the Republican Party panders to this family. This family is the perfect demographic for the Republican Party. Rich, white, Christian. You couldn't ask for anything better as far as conservative Republican politicians are concerned. And this family helped a poor black boy out of poverty and into a lucrative career in professional sports. And for that, they should be lauded. It's awesome that they helped this kid. But their voting history is the reason he was in poverty to begin with. Decades of conservative Republican politicians have created the poverty that Michael Orr survived, as well as millions of other children, just like Michael Orr, who didn't have a nice, friendly, rich, white Christian family to save them. So how did they do this? By voting for policies such as, say, the war on drugs, which instead of treating chemical dependency as a medical issue, it treats it as a criminal one, pushing people into the for-profit prison system, underfunding public and minority schools in urban areas, making sure they don't get decent educations, the endemic discrimination and segregation that is institutionalized in America, the underfunding or elimination of programs that help the poor and the middle class to better themselves. These things have been going on for decades. And they're the reason that we have so many people in poverty in America today. We have the money to pull this off, folks. We could eliminate poverty in the next decade if we choose. But we don't choose to do it. Instead, we keep giving tax breaks to the wealthy, just like the people in this film, at the cost of the middle class and the poor. There's a scene in the film where Sandra Bullock's character, when finally faced with the abject poverty that Michael Orr survived, goes into her room, closes the door, and has a quiet cry. It's very moving. She's very upset. She should be. This whole family should be sickened. They should be vomiting into their designer toilets. because they have helped perpetuate the entire class system in America that created the poverty that made the person they've come to love suffer. And then they can feel empathy for Michael Oher because they know him. They don't know the rest. They haven't extended their sphere of empathy and sympathy and compassion beyond Michael Oher, at least not in the film. Maybe they did later. It'd be awesome if they did. I'd like to know, did they continue to vote Republican? I want to know, does Michael Oher himself vote Republican? Does his allegiance lie with the class of peasants he was raised with, or with the new American aristocracy that he has now found himself among? Because that's what these are, people. They are the American aristocracy. They are the 1%ers. And they are perpetuating a system that creating a permanent class of peasants. So yes, I may be seeing a little deeper into this film than some people are, and I am bringing things with me, as everyone does, to everything I view. But this film had a message that I don't think the director intended, and I think it's a powerful one. It's one that deals with the American aristocracy and the peasant class they have created.